Today, we're jumping into a really captivating world. Delia Owens' debut novel, Where the Crawdads Sing. We're drawing from a pretty insightful review here. It highlights this amazing mix of mystery, romance, and, a powerful coming-of-age story.
All set in those North Carolina marshes, 1950s, 60s is quite a backdrop.
Exactly. And our goal, really, is to unpack the most compelling ideas from the source material, try to figure out why this story struck such a chord with so many people.
Yeah, and right at the center of it all, you have Kaya Clerk, the locals. They call her the Marsh Girl.
Right.
Basically, she's this young girl just abandoned, left to fend for herself in the marsh. And as things develop, she becomes the main suspect in a murder.
Local murder, yeah.
So we're going to explore her journey, how she survives, her connection to that environment, and all the questions swirling around her. It's quite something.
So let's start maybe right at the beginning. Kaya's early life. It's just marked by intense neglect, abandonment.
Profoundly so.
Her mom leaves first, then her brothers and sisters. And eventually, her abusive, alcoholic father just vanishes too.
Leaving her totally alone in this rundown shack.
Totally alone. But what's amazing, what really stands out, is her resilience. How she learns to survive, fishing, gathering mussels.
Just figuring it out.
Yeah, figuring it out, relying completely on the rhythms of nature. It feels like more than just survival, though, doesn't it? Like she's defining herself against it all.
That's a great way to put it. It's precisely that. Her resourcefulness, which, comes purely from necessity, like how she finds and sells mussels just to get by. It's not just about staying alive. It becomes this first sort of independent act of self-definition. It's almost like she's rejecting being a victim before she even knows the word.
Wow.
But of course, that neglect leads to this deep, deep isolation. And the folks in Barkley Cove, the nearby town, they just make it worse.
They don't help?
Not at all. They ostracize her, call her swamp trash, wild, just awful labels. Yet, and this is what's so interesting, that solitude, as awful as it is, it shapes her in these incredible ways. She finds, beauty and a kind of sanctuary in the marsh.
Right, the place itself.
Exactly. Her observations, birds, insects, the tides, they become incredibly meticulous. That becomes her literacy, her way of reading the world.
Before she can actually read words.
Precisely. It's her refuge from all the cruelty outside. Her environment, it literally becomes her whole world.
Okay, so beyond just her early life and survival, how does the way the novel is structured play into this whole mystery around Kaya? Because I found that part totally gripping.
Oh, it's masterful, isn't it? Owens uses this really clever dual timeline.
Right, the two threads.
Yeah, so one thread follows Kaya's life, right from childhood, moving into her adult years. You get this really vivid picture of her growing up, changing.
You really feel like you know her.
You do. But then the other timeline starts much later, in 1969. It kicks off with finding Chase Andrews' body. He's this popular guy from town.
Dead in the marsh.
Dead in the marsh. Boom! Suspicion immediately falls on the marsh girl.
Of course. The outside.
Exactly. So weaving these two timelines together creates this incredible tension. It constantly forces you, the listener, to question things. Is she guilty? Even while you're learning about her life, her traumas, what drives her.
Yeah, you're building empathy for her on one hand, but this huge question mark hangs over everything.
Right. It keeps you completely on edge, wondering, could she have done it? While at the same time, you're getting deeply invested in her personal story.
I remember just wanting to know. Tell me, did she or didn't she? It puts you at such a unique spot as a reader or listener. Does that structure also help explore the bigger ideas in the book?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely not just a gimmick to create suspense. I mean, at its heart, this novel is really digging into loneliness, that fundamental human need we all have for connection.
And Kaya's experience of abandonment just amplifies that need, right?
Hugely. Everyone she loved leaves her. So that yearning for companionship becomes central, and we see it play out in her two main relationships.
Tate and Chase?
Exactly. Tate, the boy who kind of gets her love of nature, shares that with her, even teaches her to read.
Which is a huge gift.
A massive gift. And then there's Chase, popular, charming.
Yeah.
But his intentions turn out to be, a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
And the dual timeline lets us see how her past, all that abandonment, really affects how she approaches these relationships, her ability to trust.
Building on that, these relationships, they really shine a light on how fragile trust can be, don't they? And how vulnerable you become when you let someone in, especially after being hurt so much.
Definitely. It makes you think about how quickly we judge people based on their circumstances. Even now, we see someone living differently, maybe in poverty, and assumptions get made.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Kaya's story really pushes back against that.
It really does. It's a powerful look at classism, prejudice, how she's judged just because she's poor, lives unconventionally. It highlights those social divides back then, and let's be honest, still relevant today. The marsh is her sanctuary, yes, but it's also the very thing that marks her as different, makes her an outcast to that town's society.
And that brings us to something else that I think makes everything. Where the Crawdads Sing so special. The role of nature itself. It's not just scenery.
Not at all.
Delia Owens' writing is just exquisite, and you can feel her background as a wildlife scientist coming through. She makes the marsh feel alive with this lyrical, vivid language.
Well, absolutely. The marsh isn't just a setting, it feels like another character. It mirrors Kaya's feelings, shapes who she becomes.
It really does.
And, another compelling part is how nature truly acts as her mother, teacher, and protector, like the review highlights.
It gives her everything.
Everything she needs to survive: food, shelter, but also inspiration. And ultimately, it gives her a voice. Her observations, her drawings.
They turn into something more.
Exactly. She eventually contributes to science, gets recognized as a naturalist, an author, not as the marsh girl outcast, but as someone with knowledge and insight.
It's such a great arc for her character.
It's incredibly satisfying. She goes from being this symbol of neglect to really a symbol of wisdom and resilience, all through that deep, powerful connection to the natural world.
So when we put all these pieces together, what are we left with? I mean, Where the Crawdads Sing feels like more than just one thing.
It really defies easy labels, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's part murder mystery, sure, but it's also this really moving love story. And like you said, an ode to the wild.
Yeah.
Kaya's journey from being abandoned to finding her own strength, from being voiceless to finding her power, it's just unforgettable.
It is. And that ending, the book's conclusion, it's not just a shocking twist, is it?
No, it makes you rethink everything.
It really does. It forces you to reevaluate what justice means, what culpability means. It suggests that maybe right and wrong aren't so black and white when you factor in extreme abandonment, survival instincts. It kind of pushes you to ask, is justice always found in a courtroom? Or can it sometimes live in those raw, primal acts of self-preservation?
That's a deep question.
It is. And it raises that important question for you, the listener. How much do our surroundings, our isolation, our connections, how much do they truly shape who we are? And is real justice always found where we expect it?
So maybe something to think about as you go about your day is this. How much of your own identity is shaped, maybe not by what society expects, but by that wilderness inside you and the wilderness around you? It's quite a testament, I think, to the resilience of the human spirit.
And the unexpected places where we can actually find a sense of belonging.
Exactly. A lot to think about.